everyone, welcome back to my channel. Last time you've seen me do the pistons and rods. What I'm going to do is the cross slide, which fits on the end of the piston rod and slides between the two angle slides here, one for each piston. So that is the part there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of 3D modelling, make a model for that and print it out, and I'm going to cast that in bronze. So let's go indoors and we'll do some 3D modelling. Right, so this is the drawing of the cross slide. On the 3D model, I'm not putting these slots in or the holes because we'll do that later in the machine shop. So I have drawn out the 3D model. Zoom that out a little bit. Right. So let's rotate that. This spigot here will be holding it in the lathe when we come to machine it, so we can bore the hole in there for the piston rod. In the top there'll be the machine slots which go on the slides there and down the bottom, and then in there on that face be the hole which will carry on then to the crankshaft part. Now if I swing that around, if you like, I'll show you how I did that. On this side here you've got all the parts like the sketches. If you click on there you'll see that orange line is the sketch. If I click on there I can adjust that. So that's the first part, the sketch. You draw first and then extrude it to the length you want. Then what I did is I spun, let's turn that round a bit more. And then this cutout here is another, let's have a look. Right, that's the first part. The next part, cut, extrude. Right, so that sketch there, that shows up in orange, right there. You sketch that part, and then cut, and that cuts that part out. And the next side is this side here. That's the sketch there, and then you extrude cut that. And then what I did is I spun it around. Spin it around to this face, and I chose that face there to draw the circle on, which would be there. Draw that circle and then extrude the part out to this face. And to get those flats, when I spun it around, which would be the next cuts, let's have a look. No, that's the next one above. this one here, I chose the end of the circle, and then you in Sketch, if you convert entities, so you choose the ends, convert entities, which would make that into the sketch, and then you do a cut which leaves the flat on, and then that was the same on the other side. And then this circle, I chose that face and then drew that circle and then extruded it out to that. So that is the cross slide. So what we'll do now is we'll save that as a STL. So if we go up there, file, save as, alright, and you want a solid model, just a cross slide, and we'll save it as an STL, which is a 3D model, which can be opened in most softwares. Okay. So if we shut that down, then you can see, if we go into, there we are, then we find the cross slide is the 3D object there, look. So if you just click on that, and that'll open up a 3D viewer, and you'll see that in a 3D. There you go. So that's the cross slide anyway. So what we'll do now is I'll put that in the 3D printing program, slice it ready for printing. Right, so I shall open up a printing software. I'll use Chitubox. It's quite an easy software to use. Right, so that would be your build plate. Now we've got to find the file. Right, so we'll open up, there's the cross slide 3D object. So there we are, we'll spin that round. What we'll do is we would rotate that 45 degrees. Okay. And then what we do is we go over to build a platform and that, so the actual part's not right on the bed. And if we click on, that'll give us all the platform and the supports, look. Beautiful. Right, what we do now is we go back to there and we'll slice it. And once that's sliced, that should, if you look at each layer as it's being built, look, that's what will be happening on a printer, and then that's the last print there, and then that be printed. Right, so I'll save that. And we'll save that on there, and then we'll put that on the memory stick and we'll go out and print it. So let's do that. Right, I've got some resin in the vat there, that's the build plate. So let's get the printer lid on and we'll start printing. Right, the printer's just loading the print up. Build plate's just lowering. and away it goes. You can't see anything at the minute because it only lifts up and down a little bit, so I'll get back to you when it's printed. Right, the printing's finished. I'll just get that off the plate. Right, so there's the cross slide. We can now cast that, make some bronze ones. Right, so I'm going to fill the little flasks up with sand. I'll do the same as the last one. I'll fill that up with sand, turn it over, push that in about halfway, and then build the other half on it. Right, I'll just clean the board off. Right, now I'm going to push this down. Right halfway if I can. Right there. Put some weight on that. Right, I'll just get a tool and go around the job, clean up all that where it's compressed in. I've got these little tools here. I've pinched my wife's clay modelling tools. Getting those little sharp corners just to compress the sand back down around the edge of the pattern. These nice little sharp points get right in there. Look. Beautiful. Let it brush off. Right. Now what I'll do is I'll give that a light dusting. I'm only using some cheap talcum powder there, look. Let it brush off. Lovely. Good out. Right. Put that back on there and fill that side up. Beautiful. Right, I'll just clean the board up. Right, so now we should be able to take this top part off and get the pattern out. Beautiful. Corner of the sanders broke away a little bit in them tight corners, but once it's all cast I can file it all up. I'm not worried about that. Right, let's get that part out. Use a couple of sharp ends of the files. Right, so there we got the two halves. There's a little bit of breakout there. That's alright. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut feed in here. Over around tools here. Same on this side. Right, put those together. I've got me two little bits of plywood here, one for each side. I'll just get a clamp that together, and then we're ready to heat up the metal. Right, so that's all clamped together. I'm going to get the crucible out now and melt some bronze. So I got the crucible on, heating up some metal. So we're just going to wait for that to get up to temperature. Right, we're up to temperature now. I've cleaned off the slag, the dross, sorry. We're ready to pour. Let that solidify, cool down a little bit, and then we'll have a look. Right, so the bronze is solidified, so let's get it out of the mould. One cross slide. Just spin the camera around there in a different light. There we are. Once that's filed up and machined, that'll be lovely. Right, I'll get on and do the next one then. Right, so there's the two cross slides all ready for machining up. Quite happy how they cast. Good. Next job on them then is get them machined. I'll see if it runs true when I mount that in the chuck on the lathe. If not, I'll be machining all of that on the milling machine. Right, couldn't get this to run square in the lathe, so I'm going to do all the machining on these cross slides in the milling machine. What I'm going to do first, I'm just going to skim 10 thou off of there to flatten that out. Turn it over, do the other side, and then clean the end up on there. Beautiful, just turn it over, do the other side. Beautiful. Right, now stand it up square. Clean the end of this off, just take 10 thou off. Beautiful. Right, next thing, center that up both ways and drill the 5/16 hole for the piston rod. I'll drill it a little bit smaller, and then I've got a reamer to ream it down to the right depth. I'll just set that up. Right, so I've got all this square and centered. So I'm going to drill for the piston rod. Lovely, just change the drill. Right, I'll put the next size drill up for the reamer then. I'll just put the reamer in. We're just going to gently ream that down. There we are. Right, so now I've drilled this hole for the piston rod. All the measurements for the channel where you've got the slides, the angled slides, both sides will be gone from the center of this rod. So to do this slot, I'm going to get it center of this rod. Then I'm going to zero off to the top and then allow to the center of the rod downwards. And then my measurement will be to the bottom of the slot in there then. So I'll just get that all zeroed up. Right, so I'm going to move that over to its 2553. I'm using a digi readout 2553. There we are. So that is in the middle there. I'll just get the milling cutter and zero off there. Do the maths to allow for the center of the bar and then up. I've got 1 inch and 23 thou overall with those two flats there. So I want to get the two flats in there the same. So I've just changed the milling cutter. Right, so I've zeroed the cutter out to the top of the bar. The bar is 5/16, which is 312.5 thou. So half of that is 156.2 thou. So I have to come up. So I've got to raise the cutter 355.3 thou. So we'll just do that. There we are. We should be able to now cut that groove through there to allow for the slide. Right, beautiful. I should be able to flip that over now. do the other side, leaving the cutter where that is. But I won't, I'll remeasure. Right, so I've got that all set up again. I'm just going to cut this screw in this side. Lovely. Right, I'll take that out and have a look at it. Right, I'm happy with those two slots at the minute. Next thing, I'll turn that over and just clean that back edge up. And then I have to drill a hole there. I'm going to drill a 7/16 hole to allow for a 7/16 bush with an internal hole of 5/16. That'll be then going to the part that'll be going to the crankshaft out there. Right, I'll just set that up and clean that up. Oh, that'll do, lovely. Next thing now, I've got to mark out for the pivot hole. I'll just change the drill. Right, I've just put the drill in for the reamer. Right, now I've just set up the reamer. Right, 7/16 reamer. Beautiful. Right, all I've got to do now is an oil hole in one of the sides. I'll just change the drill. that's it. Just get that out there and we'll have a look. Right, that's both cross slides machined. I did one earlier to check that it was alright, so I'm happy with those. What I'll do now, I'll just machine up a couple of the angles, which has got to be machined to fit in those slots, because that'll be bolted on there and then it'll be bolted onto the waste shaft bracket. So I'll just machine that up to width, bolt that on there and jig it up and just show you. So I've got to machine that to 3/8 of an inch wide. I'll only do the one side for the minute till I'm ready to mount all this lot on the waste shaft bracket. So I'll just set up and machine 2 bits of angle. So I'm just going to machine that down to 3/8 of an inch. Right, this is the last cut. That should be enough to fit in the slot on the cross slide. Right, I'll just get that off and we'll try it. Right, so that slot and the angle, that's lovely, that is. I'll just do a second one for the other side and then we'll jig it up and you can see. Right, so that's both slide angles machined. Nice fit in those slots. What I'll do is I'll drill a hole in each end up here and then I'll be able to bolt it onto the cover, jig it up and I'll show you. Right, so I'll just get some holes drilled. Right, I'm just drilling one of the slides. This end will bolt onto the piston cover. Just change the drill. Right, I'll just drill the other one. Right, so that's the cross slide castings done. I mean, I just jigged this up. When this will be on the piston will be in the cylinder. These angles, I've got to machine these down to the height yet. That will be bolted onto the waste shaft bracket. Here there'll be a tapered pin to stop the piston rod coming out of the way slide. But yeah, once that's on, that's lovely, that is. I'm happy with how they went. Right, I've just showed you the low pressure piston, and here is the high pressure piston jigged up. That again runs really nice. I'm happy with how they go. And again, there'll be a tapered pin in there to stop the rod coming out. And also I've got to, of course, make the bronze bushes to go in there with a 5/16 pin. And then from there, of course, you've got the crankshaft with the arm that pivots here going to the crankshaft. Right, I'm happy with that. Beautiful. That's about all the time I got now for this weekend. So please subscribe to my channel and join me as I build a 2-inch scale Fowler Showmans Traction Engine.